Today's lesson is for both 1.5 and 1.6 in your textbook. We're going to add and subtract integers in this. So what is different about adding integers from regular positive numbers? So the addition rule that we're going to deal with today is something called, we're going to use zero pairs to cancel out, and the remainder is the answer. Now what does this mean? So if I have a plus 1 and we have a negative 1, if we put those two together, they're both the same distance from 0, so they would cancel each other out. So let's look at that in an addition problem. Let's say we have positive 4 plus a negative 3. So if we do that, we have 4 positive signs. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. And we have 3 negative numbers, 1, 2, 3. Now, so based on what we said up here, if we put one of the positives and one of the negatives together, another positive and another negative together, another positive and another negative together, we wind up with one positive left that doesn't have a pair. So all these three terms are equal to 0. So we can say here that 4 plus a negative 3 equals a positive 1. Now we don't have to write the positive. If you see a number there that's just hanging out, we know it's just a positive 1. Let's look at another example that actually goes negative on it. So let's say we have 2, that's a positive 2, plus a negative 4. And we put the negative in parentheses just so we don't get these two signs here and here confused. So this is going to be plus a negative 4. So here we have two positives, 1, 2. And how many negatives do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's put our zero pairs. We have a plus and a negative together goes 0. Plus and a minus together goes 0. Look how many negatives we have that are unpaired. So the answer is just negative 2. This applies to all numbers. Even if we have 27 positive plus 29 negative, if you were to put 27 positives all the way down here, and 29 negatives, think about it this way. How many more negatives would there be than positives? Well, there are 27 and 29. There are 2 away. So the answer to this is very simply 2 negative. So we're going to go over some more examples of that in class, but I want you to understand that concept now of making the zero pair. So here are a couple of more examples that I would like to look at right now. These are just, again, there's more numbers and more checkpoints, but once you get the concept of this, it's going to be pretty easy. So let's just say we have a negative 9 and a negative 14. So take a look. You can do this, and it's pretty tedious, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And look at, we're combining that with 14 more negatives. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Now this is different from the zero pairs. Since we have 9 negatives here and we have 14 negatives here, we're just going to put that all together. And guess what? We're going to have 23 negatives. Here we have 22 positives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. Sorry about this. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 15 negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So if we put all these together in zero pairs, and I'm being very sloppy this because I want you to get the concept, but if you did all this and got all the 15s together, how many more positives are we going to have than negatives? And that's all we're looking at here. We're going to have 7 more positives. So your answer's 7, positive 7. For the last part of this lesson today, we're going to do subtraction. And there's one big rule for subtraction, and the rule is never subtract. We're going to change everything to addition problems. It's a little trick I'm going to show you. It involves these 3 words right here, everybody. Freeze, change, change. So let's take a look at what I'm trying to get you to say here. Okay, so here we have 17 minus 23. Let's take a look at what we have going on here. 17 minus 23. Now, again, we just said our rule was to never subtract. Never subtract. So 17 minus, and again, this just means we're subtracting a positive 23 there. Again, they don't write positive 23 here because we assume that it's a positive number. So let's say what we have here. We have a sign for this, which is also positive. We have the operation, which is to subtract, and it's a positive 23. So again, we're going to go think about it. Freeze, change, and change again. Freeze, change, change. So freeze means we're going to keep this number and this sign the same. So we're going to have 17. And I'm not going to write the positive there, but there is one. The next thing that we're going to look at is the operation. And the operation here right now is to subtract. But our rule says never subtract. We're going to change it. So we're going to change it from subtraction to addition. So we changed the sign. Now the next thing that we're going to change is we have a plus 23. Here's our third operation, change. We're going to make this a minus 23. So you can see I froze that, which means I kept it the same. Change this, which means I changed it from negative to positive. Change this, which means I changed it from positive to negative. And now this problem here we can easily do because this is what we were doing in the first segment where we were adding integers. So again, now we're just going to go out and have 17 positives. I'm not going to go do it. So we have 17 plus and 23 negatives. So how many more negatives do I have? I have 6 more negatives if I do all my 0 pairs here. So this answer would be negative 6. So again, let's take a look at our next example, which is negative 14 minus a minus 17. So again, we're going to freeze, change, change. Negative 14 stays the same. We change this sign to positive, and then we change this sign to a positive 17. So now, 0 pairs again. 14 negatives, 17 positives. How many more positives are there? Well, there would be 3 down the bottom. So this answer is plus 3. We're going to continue to work on examples in class.